picked him up, told him everything was going to be okay, and started running towards the Bradley. He opened his eyes and looked at me, and I told him it was going to be okay, I have him, don't die, don't die. And his eyes rolled back into his head again. That's when I got up to the Bradley and placed him inside the Bradley with the medics. There was just so much blood on me from him that I didn't think he was going to survive. I had to clean the blood of the children off of my uniform and my IBA, which is your protective vest, and I had a huge flood of emotions just barraging me, and started piecing it together, and I started realizing that it was the Apaches that did that. Things from that day changed for me. I no longer felt that I was doing good in Iraq. It became more along the lines of, I'm just here to make it home to my kids now. There's no point in me being here, so, I just want to make it home.
That was Ethan McCord. Well, miraculously, both the children, Dua and Sajad, survived following a series of operations and are still receiving treatment. But with me now is the expert and writer on counterinsurgency, David Coquelin, who advised the US Army General David Petraeus on the surge strategy in Iraq. We'll come on to the timing of this particular attack, because it was around the time of the surge in a moment. But what did you make of that footage?
Well, you use the term miraculously to describe the children surviving, but of course it wasn't miraculous. It was down to the work of Ethan McCord. And it's very easy, I think, for us to sit here in a very quiet, calm studio and people to sit at home and to sort of second-guess the decisions that people make in a split second in extremely complex and confusing environments. But I think we should be very careful about sort of drawing too many conclusions. I was in Iraq fighting at that same time, and I would probably choose not to comment on those kinds of decisions, except to say it's very complicated.
It is very complicated. Now, there are
about what we would have done in those circumstances. I don't think you really know until you're there. And I was in Iraq fighting at that same time, and I would probably choose not to comment on those kinds of decisions, except to say it's very complicated.
It is very complicated. Now, there is an argument which says that in that van there was an RPG.
Well, he said it. He said that as they turned up, they saw an RPG lying next to the bodies. So, yeah.
So the father had, this is his suggestion, is the father, whatever, had the children in the van and there was an RPG.
I wouldn't like to speculate. It's a very complex environment. Although there were certain, I was there at the same time, and around the same time, the same couple of weeks, we had an incident where 2 Iraqi adults used 2 children about the same age to get through a security checkpoint, then ran away themselves from the car and detonated it with their 2 children inside. So we know that the insurgents made a fairly frequent practice of using children to get close to targets and then killing them.
As you say, it was a split-second decision, but this Crazy Horse 1-8, this Apache helicopter gunship crew, they killed 2 Reuters cameramen. Mistakes were made. You do accept that?
I think, as I said, it's very easy to sit here and say, oh, this was done and that was done. And in a very complex, fast-moving situation, of course mistakes get made.